speaking of nominees, joining us now is Rob Adkerson. Am I saying your name right? Rob Adkerson, who is Barry Loudermilk's chief of staff.
Rob.
I met
Yeah,
Rob one time. I was at a Fulton County, some kind of convention, doing my show there, and Rob introduced himself to me. That was a while back, Rob, but I remember meeting you then. And Barry's been very good to our show. He's a good guy, and he's retiring. And you're running for a seat in Georgia 11, which is a
correct.
Republican seat. And that primary is May what? It's all May 10th,
19th.
May 19th. That's
Yep.
right, May 19th. And Jackie's off because she had to go qualify somebody. And also, we expect in that race, he's going to be the guy to beat, is Brandon Beach. He's a U.S. Treasurer.
He's not
he
running.
was-
No, he's out. He's announced yesterday and called some folks around. It was in the AJC. He's decided to stay at Treasury. for
He's
now.
decided to stay. Okay, well, that opens it up for you because if he ran, he would have got Trump's backing and he would have been almost impossible to beat. So you're good there. So tell us about why you're running for Barry's seat and why you're the guy. And then
Well,
I'll open it up to every.
First of all, Brandon was going to get in. Our team knew that we were going to run this no matter what, because almost impossible is what we do. So we were going to run the race, and because and Debbie knows, I've been involved, and I got off my couch back in, around before the Tea Party movement, but I was part of the original Tea Party movement with Debbie, and we toured up here in the state, and we went to Washington many times, and I founded the first Tea Party group here in Bartow County, and then I started to get involved in the Republican Party, and worked here in the Bartow County GOP. I served on the 11th District GOP, worked at the state level, worked with state level candidates. Back then, Barry Loudermilk was in the Georgia House of Representatives, and he was my representative. So when he decided to run for state senate, having become involved, I kind of helped him. You did the door knocking and all the things that you do on a grassroots campaign. So we got to know each other. We were in a similar line of work. We did some work together. So when he called me up one day and he said, "Phil Gingrich's running for Senate. I'm going to run for that seat, and I'd like you to help me on the campaign." And I said, "Sure." I said, "I can put out signs or whatever. Tell me what you want me to do." And he said, "I want you to run the campaign." And I said, "I think you've got the wrong number, because this is not what I do. I'm not a professional, a guy that works in politics." And he said, "I know, but you've run a business, and I'm more interested in your business acumen than the politics part." So we ran that race. It was a race between maybe 4 or 5 top tier candidates, including former Congressman Bob Barr. Barry ended up in a runoff with him, and we won. And he asked me to be his chief of staff, and I've been that since 2015. I'm currently unemployed. I had to leave the office 2 Fridays ago because you can't work in the office and seek the office. So I'm highly motivated because I'm unemployed right now. But so we worked, we were in that office, and when Barry was never going to be a career politician. We all knew that. And so in the last couple, it's been a decision every year. And this time, for the first time in his 8th grandchild was born in January. And for the first time, he was not present for that because he had to be in Washington, D.C. And I think that was a big catalyst for just going ahead and, taking what he's done in Congress. We've done a lot. Over the last 3.5 years, we've done this J6 investigation. He's going to wrap that up this year before the end of the term. And so he moved on. So he announced, and my plan was not to run for this seat. I started getting on the phone with solid conservatives in the district that I could get behind and support for this seat, to run for this seat, and I thought could win. And one by one, they came back to me and they said, "It's not the right time for me. Why don't you do it?" And I said, "Well, that's not my plan. That's not my plan at all." But they kept calling, and I started to kind of hear a little voice in the back of my head that said, "My plans are not your plans." So I called Barry and I said, "Listen, I want you to talk me out of running for this." And he said, "I don't think I should. And nobody's stepping up." And he said, "I'll get behind you 100%. So I got on the phone and started making calls, and that's just been snowballed ever since. We filed and announced last Monday. We qualified just this week on Monday, and the response has been just overwhelming.
How'd you get the signatures that fast?
What's that?
How'd you get the signature? Don't you have to get signatures for
No.
ballot access?
No, you have to write a check for $5,000. That's all.
Oh, there's no signatures in Georgia.
In the state of Georgia, you got to qualify
Like
and write
money.
a check.
I'd
Right.
rather pay the five. You know how hard it is to get? Like, I'm in Washington, D.C., running for D.C. GOP second ward chair. By the way, Debbie, thanks for the donation. Appreciate it. So, the nightmare here is that you got to get all these signatures, and like, there's no Republicans here. You got to go knock on doors, and But you know, the good news is you have to talk to people, right? So, I guess that's the good news. So you just pay the $5,000, you're in. Who else, Debbie, is in this race?
So far, we've heard Trey Kelly, who lives in Fulton, and he's actually decided he wants to run. You have a female businesswoman. Her name is Lisa Carlquist. She's getting in. I think she's going to DC next week. From what I heard, Rob, who else have you heard that's getting in?
John Cowan.
John Cowan.
Yeah, I'll let you guys say it, so I'm not saying their names.
So yeah, it's Lisa Carlquist.
I'm kidding.
Perennial candidate, John Cowan is.
So folks know
originally
Dr. John Cowan is out of Floyd County. He lives in Floyd County. He ran against Marjorie a couple times. And then, you know, Tricia Pridemore qualified yesterday, I believe.
Yep.
There's the gentleman out of Pickens County who's part of the Pickens County GOP, Chris Mora. But we are, you know, like I said, it's been snowballing for us. The response has been amazing. We've rolled out endorsements and support all week. Ironically, I have Barry Loudermilk's full support and Bob Barr's, who are the two people who were in that runoff back in 2014. Bob and I have become friends over the years, and we visit a lot. So I've got those guys and folks like Michael Caldwell, the mayor of Woodstock, State Senator Ed Setzler, and that list is just growing of folks that are coming on board with the campaign. So we feel strong. We feel like the path is solid right now.
Are you the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And Miss Dooley, by the way, Debbie Dooley's on board too, if I can say that on here.
Tricia Pridemore is going to have issues in that race because she has served on the Public Service Commission and she cast the same votes that Jim Eccles and Fitz Johnson cast in favor of Georgia Power. So that's going to haunt her in this race, I believe.
You know what? Votes have consequences. And I like Tricia. She's certainly served the party in a number of different capacities. I think she was in the labor department or labor commissioner or jobs or something. She's a very nice lady, very qualified, very intelligent, a class act. But that vote is going to nail her. I mean, all you got to do is one mailer on her, just one mailer, and say, hey, you know, she voted for whatever reason. She voted for these increases from Georgia Power. Votes have consequences, so I think that's going to be tough. Otherwise, she'd probably be tough. I mean, she has the ability to raise money and things of that nature. But who's the Debbie? Or Sally? Let's go to Sally. Who's the Trump MAGA candidate in this race?
So, John, this is my congressional district in being in Cobb County. So, Rob, you want to earn my vote? And I have a quick question. You said that Trey Kelly's getting in the race, and I had seen that, but he also got in the 14th district race. Yeah. Did he withdraw from the 14th?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jackie.
So
Sorry.
So he's in Fulton County.
You weren't.
Okay, so he lives in Fulton County, which is neither in the 14th or the 11th. Entered the 14th race, withdrew before qualifying, is one of those people that's on the ballot who's not running and now is running in the 11th. Do I have that right?
Well, he withdrew after he qualified for the special. But
Okay.
so he did qualify for the special election, but he did withdraw.
Okay. All right. And I love Trey, but these are the kinds of things that hurt us.
Yeah.
When people jump in go from congressional district to congressional district. As far as the MAGA candidate, John, I have not met Lisa Carlquist yet, so I don't know what her stances are. I would have to say that that Rob is the closest to a MAGA candidate as anyone. I mean, I know how, as you know, dealing with him Asbury's chief of staff over the years. I know he supports President Trump and conservative Tea Party like values. I know also Trisha was involved in the Tea Party before, so I haven't talked
Not
to
that
her
I
about.
know of. I never seen her at a Tea Party meeting.
Okay,
Well,
well, that's what I understood. So if I'm incorrect,
Yeah,
please correct me on that. But I think you're really going um, to show that. And you look at what's happening in Texas with the invasion in Texas, and you see what's happening with Abbott for governor and things like that. And I know we have a lot of issues. I don't know if you've seen the ad that's come out with Greg Dolezal with the Islamic situation and what's going on across the state of Georgia. We have got a lot of issues that people are going to have to be
What is that ad?
very out front.
Tell us about that ad and what you mean by the Islamic situation.
Holly, I'll let you take that one.
So Greg Dolezal, he dropped the bill, the Sharia bill on foreign interference. On I'm trying to think when it was. I don't think it was this Monday. I think it was the prior week. But anyways, and we do. Everybody is focused on New York right now and Texas. I have been screaming about Georgia. We are under attack, and it is literally the Islamification of Georgia. I can
yep,
walk you through all of it, all the connections, how it all ties, the foreign interference. I've briefed top level people at the White House in this administration, top level generals about this. I'm telling you, it's here. It is in our face,
yep.
and we cannot get in a situation like what Texas is in.
Just,
And so that commercial,
describe what's going on in Texas and how that relates back to Georgia.
We're seeing it here in Georgia, John. We have all of these radical Islamic people that are running for, we had it in our municipal elections that are running for seats in municipal elections. And they are joined up with the Democrat Socialists of America to run for these seats. And we have to have strong people to represent us. And I know Rob is a strong individual who is not going to stand for that. And, as I said, Holly is the expert on it, and
Yep.
we see the candidates qualifying.
And
and I want to tell
Holly's
y'all, can I
actually,
make an announcement real quick?
Mm.
I've not said this, so this is breaking news on the John Fredericks show. We are still getting the documents in order. We've already submitted the request for information. We've got, the website is in the works, the logo's done, the whole 9 yards, but we are launching the Georgia Sharia Free Caucus. And we are going to start working with the America Sharia Free Caucus, already are, and with people, around the country. And we're going to start getting our legislators on board and just really building a massive network from, local to statewide. Well, really local to global. That's actually title one of our dossiers is local to global, because it connects internationally. But yeah, we're gonna really get organized on this and start combating it because, like Sally said, they are strategically placing their people in certain areas and moving them around. That's why Ruma is no longer on the gubernatorial ticket. She's now, going somewhere else to a seat that they think they can win or an open seat. They're strategic about it. They lay it out on the line. It's all talked about. And they are all connected. They're all connected in Texas and, Mamdami up in New York. Of course, we see what's coming out of that. So yeah, we've got a problem. It's something that needs to be taken very seriously. So I guess my question for you, Rob, is can we count on you to be supportive of that? And
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, 100%. And I think we need to we need to educate the masses about the difference. That Sharia is not about religion. It's a political system. It's a system of government, and it's the antithesis of our Constitution. So there has no place here at all.
Yeah.
and I want to give a shout out to Holly. We had a sleeper that ran for Cobb County chairman. She was on her way. She had her background hidden. I grew suspicious of her and I started doing initial investigations and talking to people in Cobb. Holly stepped in because I felt like she was hiding something. Did not expect what Holly uncovered about Sophia Farouk. And she was leading the race for chair. We came in very quickly, started raising awareness She had, I think it was her grandfather that had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. But
Yeah,
Holly, you want to
her
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, her grandfather is Maududi, and Maududi is the founder of the Jamaat-e-Islami. And we can talk about the Muslim Brotherhood all day. We can talk about CARE all day. We can talk about ICNA all day. But the Jamaat-e-Islami is the basis for all of this. Everything that Muhammad Yunus has done over in Bangladesh, starting with Grameen America, working with the Clintons, the ISIS, Al Qaeda, the whole 9 yards, everything in Iran and Pakistan that we've seen, it all goes back to Maududi and the Jamaat-e-Islami. That is the head of the snake, and his granddaughter sits right there in Cobb County. And I'm glad you brought that up because my phone was blowing up over the weekend. I guess Cobb County just had a GOP county meeting, and apparently she rolled right in with her exact same slate. Like she was, they are fully geared up and fully ready to come back in with a vengeance again and run. So that's something that's got to be watched because her entire slate, we did not publish a dossier on them, but I think we're going to, we might go ahead and just start on that too because we know who they are and what they're affiliated with.
What slate is that, Sally? I don't understand what Holly's saying about Cobb County.
So yeah, in Cobb, I was at that meeting, and yes, the same people that ran, in Cobb, we typically run as a slate where you have the chair, the first vice chair, and so on and so forth that run as a team. And so there's definitely a group of people that, are, in my opinion, blissfully unaware of an agenda that's happening. And remember, Cobb County is the second highest Republican voting county in the state of Georgia in the 2024 election. Even though people claim it's blue, that we have the second highest Republican votes in the state. It's a very key county when it comes to direction. And that's why, Rob, we need strong leadership on the congressional level because it is such an important county. And, there seems to be no shortage of some continued support because, Sophia does portray herself as America First MAGA candidate. And there are just some things that people refuse to see. And it's very, very, very concerning.
And let's not forget that we uncovered that Sophia Farouk, right after October 7th, there was a resolution presented to the Cobb County Commission to call for the condemnation of what happened of the murders on October 7th. And Sophia, I uncovered an email where Sophia had actually written to the commissioners encouraging them not to support it. And after they killed it, she thanked them. The folks like Sophia, when I got involved, nobody knew anything about her. I mean, what religion she was. I had another Muslim that actually told me, hey, she's from Pakistan. That's her surname. You need to investigate her. And, so we started, and it's just like they have, and Holly can give more information. There is a
Holly, what is their objective?
Our objective is to defeat her.
I think you mean their objective as a whole is to take over America and the Western world. You look back at, when you study, and I was not a history major, I was a math geek. So I've had to take a really quick crash course, and got a PhD in this over the last year. But when you start looking at their history of them, and how Iran was, back before 1979,
Yep.
Completely different. And so you get these radical groups in there. And I'm going to tell you, I have read so many books on Maududi and his teachings and what they do. And of course, other people that have written about it, I've written their book, read their books too. So many to the point where my kids were like, Mom, we're concerned about, how much you're reading and what's sitting on the dining room table. And I'm like, no, I'm just studying it because you got to understand it, because it is difficult to understand because they're kind and we're kind. We're gracious. We want to be welcoming, and they know that, and they use that, and that is called takia. Their end goal, end result is to take over America. And if you've never seen the Final Call newsletter, go to the March 2025. It's online. You have to pay a little fee. I did that. I downloaded all of them. But March 2025, the cover of their newsletter says, "One nation under God," in parentheses, Allah. I have been posting this like crazy on my social media. And those were handed out in a low-income neighborhood in Macon, Georgia. The same place that actually Christian pastors were getting arrested. I know that because I helped them get legal counsel.
Rob, what are you going to do about all this if you're in Congress?
Well, I mean, there are also some moves in Congress right now to address this Sharia issue and other things. I don't have the specific legislation in front of me, but obviously I would stand with and work for legislation. And if I don't agree with what's there, it needs to be stronger. Then I'm perfectly, I'll be perfectly willing to enact that. If I could just quickly, you asked a question earlier about who's the Trump candidate in this race. It's me. I've been working for 3.5 years with Congressman Loudermilk to investigate the truth about January 6th. We've exposed a lot of the lies of the January 6th committee. Before that, I've been on. So as Congressman Loudermilk's chief of staff, I couldn't. I'm still a Tea Party guy and an activist, but I couldn't say a lot. I'm his chief of staff, but I have developed an online presence under the pseudonym up until now, until I left the office, Common Sense, which refers to Thomas Paine's old pamphlet, Common Sense. But I have 86,000 followers on TikTok and growing on the other ones. And I was very helpful and very active in the 2024 election for President Trump. And he knows personally from Congressman Loudermilk's conversations with him that I was right there at the tip of the spear in these investigations trying to expose the sham J6 committee. So I'm that guy. Now, back to the conversation about Sharia and the spread of Islam. Everything that was just stated here is absolutely true. I agree with 100%, and we do have to do something about it. You don't even have to go to the movement. You can start with the text of their book. It states that. It states that the goal of it is to eventually take over the entire world, and not just religiously, but politically, and everything that goes with that. I mean, that's why the marriage between these far left Marxists who are right now attaching themselves to Islam because they're compatible until they eliminate all of us, and then Islam will eliminate them too. That's the goal.
They basically see the left as a
useful idiots.
Right? That's what
Useful idiots.
That's the word I was trying to find. Useful idiots, basically. Hey, this segment brought to you by our good friends at Creekside Pet Hotel. They love Debbie. They love her dogs. If you have your pets ready for some awesome fun, we got to go out of town. If you're anywhere near Kennesaw, you want to take them to the Creekside Pet Hotel because they're happy. They do a great job with your pets. Sometimes your pets don't want to come home, right? They're like, wow, Mom, this is so much fun. Can't you stay an extra day? They get great care. Now, they do cats, too. You can get the Sammy Special. Just ask for Sammy Special. $22 a day. They stay in a separate area. No, they don't mix with the dogs. No, they don't mix with the other cats. They get their own area. They get a lambskin rug. They got a big area. They go play. They got all kinds of toys in there. Great place to be. Got to go out of town. Here's what you want to do. You want to check out Creekside Pet Hotel. They're the best, and especially for if you're away over a couple of days. You just want to be sure they're having fun and being taken care of. So when you pick them up, they're not all depressed and all that. We've all been through that. Go to creeksidepethotel.com. They're the best. creeksidepethotel.com in Kennesaw, or give them a call, 770-422-4700, 770-422-4700. Okay. What do you think about all this, Debbie?
Think about the
whole thing. Yep.
About the hotel.
Yep.
I think it's a great place. Like I said, I have 2 Chihuahuas, and they're kind of like babies. And there's been times if I'm on a flight or something, I cannot take them out of town. And until I discovered Creekside Pet Hotel, I used to just feel guilty my entire trip. But with Creekside Pet Hotel, you can have a guilt-free trip without your pets because they're going to be loved and taken care of.
You don't want to feel bad. Now, we're fortunate when we travel because I've got Marcy takes care of Sammy. She's not really a cat person, but Sammy has trained her. That's what cats do. They train. So Sammy has trained her, and she's doing okay. She's doing okay. She's, she has a pet routine, a brush routine. Kind of drives her bananas, but McCarthy, we're slowly getting her to be a cat person, kind of. Let's go, Rob. I mean, it's like a struggle. Rob, how do you win this race?
We keep going with the message that we've going on. What I want to do is take the lessons that I've learned through this investigation and the oversight we've done. I want to seek to get on the oversight committee. I want to start to delve into the fraud that I believe that the stuff we've seen in Minnesota and Massachusetts is just the tip of the iceberg. I think there's so much fraud in the federal government and waste like this through these different programs that we can actually have an impact on the deficit if we can get to the bottom of all these things and start to what we need to do. The fundamental reason that this fraud has grown to the point it is something that Antonin Scalia told Congress one time. If you don't want us deciding laws, if you don't want us making law, write the law like you're supposed to. Do your job. Most people, do you remember when Nancy Pelosi said we have to pass the bill to find out what's in it? Most people thought she meant members of Congress don't read the bill. That's not at all what she meant. What she meant was Obamacare and the ACA was full of fill in the blanks. And once it was passed, then the bureaucrats were going to write the law. That's why it had to be passed before we find out what's in it, because it was left to the bureaucrats to fill in the blanks. And that happens far, far too often. And that's what opens the door to things like the fraud that we're seeing in Minnesota and Somali daycares. And that's just, again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I want to get into that. And I think people are ready for accountability.
Okay, let's get the policy. Are you, if you were there now, there's a bill, Massey's got a bill to defund the Iranian war. Would you vote no?
To defund the Iranian war?
Yes.
Yes, I would absolutely oppose that. I support what we're doing in Iran 100%.
If it comes to a vote on Trump's tariffs in Congress, are you going to vote up or down? Tariffs yay, tariffs nay. Up or down?
Tariffs yay, tariffs nay. I would have to see the bill and what we're talking about and talk with
All
the White
of
House.
Trump's tariffs as they are now, which got struck down by SCOTUS, if they brought that to Congress and you had to vote on it, how would you vote on it?
I would oppose that bill.
Why?
Because I believe what he's doing, he has the authority to do. And if I'm in Congress, I want to have the conversation that how we as a nation have been programmed, because we're hearing tariffs are a tax, tariff are a tax. You know what else is a tax? The income tax. And we used tariffs and excise taxes up until the point when the evil Woodrow Wilson and his clan came in and brought in the income tax. We funded our federal government with tariffs and income and other taxes and fees, not on the American people's hard work. So let's have that conversation. We can all get upset if the tariffs are a tax, but I'd like to talk about the fact that tariffs are acceptable. I believe he has the authority under the authority that he was using, and I agree with all of the dissent from the justices who dissented on that decision. So yes, I would vote to oppose legislation that blocks him from doing that in Congress.
What about extending the Obamacare subsidies through 2026?
No, I'm opposed to this Obamacare subsidies completely. It's a Christmas gift. It's a gift to the insurance companies. The Democrats are in bed. The whole ACA was a gift to the insurance companies.
What about this Minnesota fraud? What do you see there?
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. We have to get into these federal programs and end this. There needs to be strict oversight, and bureaucrats don't need to be filling in the blanks. If there's going to be a program, and a majority of people in Congress support a program to help whatever to benefit a certain sector, then that should be a very detailed piece of legislation. Not we're going to give you $20 billion now. Let's let the bureaucrats decide who gets it. I don't think that needs to happen. That's that's why we're here in the first place. Is with the bureaucrats.
That is very refreshing to hear you say that, because we see it on the state level as well, where someone will come out with talking points, but then when a bill goes through the legal writing process, it's not anything what it sounded like it was intended to be.
Right.
I'd like to know why more members of Congress aren't saying what you're saying. I mean, that's the first time I've heard anybody say that.
Well, I don't know how many true Tea Party members of Congress, but that's who I am. And like I said, I've developed an online presence, and through this campaign, and when I win and go to Congress, I'm going to continue to do this, and I'm going to continue to talk daily. I just blanked on his name, but the Carhart congressman from Tennessee, Tim Burchett.
He's great.
Does a great job of coming out, talking to the voters, letting them know what's going on. And I plan to be exactly that kind of congressman to keep them. And I may not have a lot of friends up there. I've got a lot of things to say about how we do the power structure in D.C. Not just the Democrats, not just Congress, but Republicans have some problems up there about the way we operate and the way we put people in positions of power. So I'm going to have some things to say that not going to make me a lot of friends in Washington. But I think the people need the truth, because that's the only way we're going to get to a better place.
Rob,
Donald Trump is doing a fantastic job of breaking the federal government, breaking the bad things, the bad parts of the federal government. And people forget, this is his last 2 years, but it's also the 2 years we're going to be choosing his successor. This is just as important as who follows in his footsteps, because we need to have people there who are ready to continue that work and begin to put in the right mechanisms in Congress so that we don't end up in this position again.
Rob, if you need a friend in Washington, D.C.,
Get a dog.
Get a cat.
I'm a dog guy.
That will be your friend.
My German short hair is over here watching this.
You don't have to walk your cat. You don't have to go home at your lunch hour. You can keep working. But when you get home, that cat is at the door waiting for you. Best thing to have is a cat. It'll help you get through the tougher. I don't know what I would do without my cat. Whenever I have a bad day, I open the door. I don't know what Ann's doing. We're working or doing something, or she's traveling. I open that door. There's my cat greeting you when I come home. And he doesn't really care what kind of day I had. As long as I pick him up, feed him, pet him, and brush him, life is good. Okay, dude, I got to go. People want to.
If I could ask folks to go to voterobackerson.com. I need all the support I can get. We're going gangbusters, but folks that want to come on and volunteer or especially donate money, voterobackerson.com. Thanks, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Rob.
All right.
We'll have you again as the campaign gets closer. I want to thank my panel, the one and only Debbie Dooley, Sally Grubbs. By the way, Sally, you look fabulous today.
Thank you so much, John.
Very nice. And of course, Holly Kessler. Holly, so your kids were seeing all these crazy books on your dining table, and they were like, what's going on with mom? Like, this is weird. So it looks like you talked them off the ledge, Holly. Thanks for being with us. Everybody, don't forget Peach Crew every Wednesday at 9 to 10 a.m. And I guess at some point in my lifetime, I'll actually see one of these Derek Dooley ads. Debbie's been talking about since.
He's your guy, John. He's your guy.
Just watch. Shock and awe.
Shock and awe, John.
I guess shock and awe. She's been telling me about this guy's ads since October. It's like what is it? March?
March Madness.
Oh my goodness.
Remember, money and dirt. Money and dirt, John.
What did I put on there? Money. That's Georgia. That's what I'm going to title this Peach Crew. Money. The Georgia way to politics. Money and dirt.
Money and dirt.
Yep.
Oh God, you guys are so funny. I have so much fun with this crew. I like the Virginia gang, but you guys are better. Now we're going to do the Pennsylvania posse. That'll probably be so boring compared to you guys, right? West Virginia.
Let's give a shout out to Texas for defeating Dan Crenshaw.
Life is good. Crenshaw's gone, and there is no way Cornyn wins this runoff. I mean, Wesley Hunt got 13% of the vote. Where's that going? By the way, how much time do I have? Oh my God, I have 1 minute. So Sally can't rebut. This is perfect. Perfect.
No. I know.
This is perfect, Sally.
Say.
I'll give you 10 seconds. I'm for ranked choice voting in Republican primaries. And you guys say, oh, it hurts MAGA. If there was ranked choice voting in this Texas Senate primary, right now, there's no runoff. Paxton is the nominee. Why? Because he'd have gotten all of Wesley Hunt's second place votes. Paxton would be the nominee. There'd be no runoff. You don't have to spend the money. He'd be going against Tirico right now. Proves my point that ranked choice voting helps MAGA candidates.
No, because if we close the primaries, we wouldn't have these jungle primaries that are so insane.